Well, I guess you could say it all started with the lutefisk party back home in Norway.
And isn't that how all good things start? A businessman from Tysvær, Norway, joins friends for a traditional lutefisk party with no idea that his life was about to change.
The Sons of Norway Foundation presents Sons and Daughters of Vikings, deep in the heart of Texas. And now, Barrett Mason with the story.
In 1825, Cleng Peerson, the father of Norwegian immigration to America, brought to the young country the first official group of Norwegian immigrants.
A friend of us was the chairman of the Historical Society in Tysvær, and they were planning a trip to Texas in 2015 to go in the footsteps of Cleng Peerson.
A pathfinder, Peerson saw America as the promised land, freedom and a fresh start for a people yoked to a ruling class. They settled in New York and then in the Midwest. In the 1850s, Peerson and some of his followers joined Ole Knutsen and Carl Kistad among 9 Norwegian families settling North Texas, the most robust community of Norwegians in that state. There, Peerson established a farm, the Cleng Peerson Farm.
We were planning to go for a trip to Texas and were recommended to contact people in Clifton to go and see the area.
Typically, Norwegians vacation in New York or Florida. But for Tysvær business executive Thomas Mannes and his family, they would spend their holiday in farmlands southwest of Dallas, in Clifton and neighboring Norse.
The chamber actually promotes it as the Norwegian capital of Texas.
Clifton's rich history of Norwegian colonists is thanks to its soil and climate, good for farming and agriculture. Most Norwegian immigrants settled in Minnesota, in the Midwest, and the Pacific Northwest, places that look like home. According to the 1900 census, only 1,500 Norwegians lived in Texas, and over a century later, only about 95,000 claimed Norwegian heritage. Yet Peerson wanted to try Texas. Lured by free land, he walked and he walked and he walked. Norse, his final destination. Today, Norwegians make pilgrimages to his farm.
So based on that, we decided to spend a couple of days of our vacation here in Clifton just to have a look around, and we were met by the mayor and the director of the museum, and they took us around and showed us all the Norwegian places, and we went back home and didn't think so much more about this.
But Clifton city officials thought about it a lot. Paige Key is director of the Clifton Chamber of Commerce.
We play on that as the Norwegians came here. Cleng Peerson, the father of Norwegian immigration, brought his last 17 immigrants from Norway to Norse, which is 10 miles outside of Clifton, into a settlement there. He lived the rest of his life in Norse.
Back in Norway, Thomas Mannes attended another dinner party. But this time, it was a stick-up. At his table was a posse of Clifton city leaders riding in from Texas to Norway's rocky western coast.
And sitting there during the evening, the mayor in Clifton said that this property was for sale.
Because wouldn't it be great to have real live Norwegians owning the Cleng Peerson farm?
So after that, we just went home and said, okay, should we buy a farm in Clifton?
Wow.
It just came out of nowhere. Then after a couple of months, then we were suddenly the owner of CP Farm.
After moving in, Mannes had a big welcome party in the farm's red barn, all dressed up with a fresh coat of paint, real live Norwegians bringing the Ufta back to Clifton.
We had a group from Tysvær, and we had the mayor from Tysvær and the mayor from Clifton, and also Texas Historical Commission participated here. And that's the same day as we got the information that we had been listed as a National Historic Property in the United States.
Mannes flies the Texas flag and the Tysvær flag close together. Wife Eldbjørg is proud of her husband.
Weren't you so excited that you had all these famous historical people coming to your barn?
Yes, it's really nice, and we look forward every time they're coming back.
Are you proud of your husband to undertake
Yes,
this?
we're proud of him. He's doing a good job.
Mannes spends his hard-earned Norwegian kroner to maintain the place. He bought it a new
The
windmill.
old one was broken, so we bought a new one.
Oh, wow.
But the foundation, everything is of the old type. But we thought, okay, we would like to see something spinning here.
Far from the main buildings is an old gray cabin. Today, it is a shrine, shelter, while Peerson built a proper home.
Well, when you look at it, what do you think when you look at it? It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is very good, and nice to take care of it.
Yeah. To be responsible for it, and the door is original.
No, that is made by me. But the lock we have brought from Norway from an. That is an antique lock brought from Norway.
Oh, wonderful! It matches perfectly, and he was a Norwegian, so it should be that way.
Should be that way.
Yeah. Do you think it's interesting to come to the U.S. every year, and maybe you'd rather be going to New York or Manhattan or something every year instead of Clifton?
Oh no, we love to come here.
Yeah.
We do.
It gives a lot of pleasure when you meet people here around in the area, and they seem to be so happy and so satisfied that we are coming from Tysvær, the same place as Cleng Peerson, and purchased his original property here in Texas. So that makes it worth it.
But fate had more in store for Mannes. One day, his mother gave him some old papers that she had long saved for her son.
Great-grandfather wrote some historical plays, and one of them that was discovered just after we bought the farm was written Cleng Peerson 1825 on, and that was about the planning of the first emigration to America.
His great-grandfather was fascinated by the storied tales of immigration of a fellow citizen of Tysvær. So he wrote The Uprooting, the story of Cleng Peerson and the start of Norwegian immigration, 1825. Mannes took his great-grandfather's work back to America, where he and fellow actors produced and performed the old play at a Minnesota Sons of Norway convention.
And later on we also brought actors down here to Clifton and had a play here. And after that in Norway, in Tysvær. So then we also closed the circle.
Not all Norwegians are adventurers and explorers filled with grit, spirit, and determination. But a lot of them are. Thomas Mannes exemplifies a Viking drive to see the world and to do something in it. He even built a modern smokehouse on the property.
Do you really get into the Texas sort of smokehouse? I think there are even restaurants named Smokehouse, and the barbecue and all of these Texan things that Texans do. Are you watching Dallas Cowboys football?
I haven't had the time to look at any kind of sports, I think.
Yeah, but you find Texas culture interesting.
We still have a lot of things to do. We have still not been on a rodeo, and that is also one of the things we just have to do while we are here.
These sons and daughters of Vikings deep in the heart of Texas carefully tend their Norwegian ancestry. Geneva Finstad is the great-granddaughter of Solveig Knudsen, who arrived in America in 1846 and made his way to Norse. Early immigrants relied on letters or periodicals for information, often walking to new lands, as railroads were still in their infancy.
Do you find your Norwegian ancestry to be very interesting?
Oh, I have written the history book on the church here, and I was so fascinated with all of the things. Even though I was working, I would not be able to stop until about 3 o'clock in the morning because it was so fascinating to me.
One night, back in Norway, Thomas Mannes went to a company meeting.
I came to that gathering, the meeting, and in the evening there was going to be kind of team building. We went down to the port and there was restoration.
Docked in the harbor was a perfect replica of the famous ship that brought those first Norwegians to America.
So we went sailing on restoration. The same day as I came home from purchasing the property. There was a storyteller on board, and when she had told the story about Cleng Peerson and the emigration to America, I asked, could I have just 5 minutes at the end now and bring the history up till today? And I told them where I've been because no one knew. So you can say there were some big eyes there.
Cleng Peerson was honored with a stamp in Norway, and Thomas Mannes has a place in history too, for daring to travel the road of life as Cleng Peerson did. In 1925, President Calvin Coolidge presided over the 100-year anniversary of Norwegian immigration to the United States. 2025 marks the 200th anniversary, with events planned in Norway and America. In 1909, a lone outpost of Norwegians in Texas came and went. Oslo on the Plains was a Chicago developer's scheme to get those fresh-faced, hard-working people to settle the Texas Panhandle. But the Texas Panhandle is as far from Norway as it gets. No snowy mountains to climb, no big seas to fish, no towering forests for wood. Drought finished off Oslo, Texas, the last Norwegian colony in the Lone Star State. And as a footnote, on December 21st, 1929, a weather station near Norse recorded 24 inches of snowfall, the second heaviest snowfall ever in Texas, making the Norwegians feel right at home. This has been Berit Mason reporting for the Sons of Norway Foundation.